I'm going to make more people mad today than than I've ever done before, because I'm going to be putting out a lot of stuff out there. So today's topic is how to detect non-truth, things that are not outrightly maybe clear if they are truth or lie. It's like you cannot really say it's a lie, but on the other hand, you cannot say it's a truth, but they are non-truth. So that's what we've been talking about all this week. And one of the ways to detect them is what I'm going to review today. And that way is check if the assertion or the statement or the practice of these people that you are talking about, especially since we're Christians and we're talking about all the practices in the churches, and we're, like against the deceptions in the churches. So I'm mostly basing my teaching on church practices, but really this does not only refer to pertain to church or things like that. It could pertain to politics. It could refer to family life. It could refer to social life. It's just any practices. So these are just principles that I'm giving. So the principle today is how to detect non-truth. You detect non-truth by asking yourself the question, the thing that the person is claiming or whatsoever the person is affirming or practicing, is it logical? But then we Christians will say, well, faith is not logical as well. So, and that, since it's God that is doing it, you cannot expect it to be logical. And that is the excuse that people fall under. And that excuse has really, blocked the eyes of some people. But you will discover that even with God, even when He does miracles, they are miracles. I mean, they are clear. They might not be logical, but at least they are not counter logic. They are not counter logic. So the topic of today is it logical or counter logic? Now, the problem that I've seen in our churches today is that the things that a lot of practices and a lot of the things that people are doing in churches are not only not logical, but they are actually counter logic. Now, it's more serious when it's counter logic. And that is not so easy to detect. If anything you see that people are practicing challenges your current status quo thinking, then you must examine it before you just believe it. You must not just swallow it because it is spiritual or because it is church. So if it is not logical, well, that is why God gave us logic, to examine. You've got to examine further. Go ahead and examine it further. Go ahead and do research. And you must now be convinced and be thoroughly convinced that, yes, it's just like with Jesus. You remember when Jesus healed the blind guy in John chapter 9? And then the Pharisees came and saw, this is not normal, this is not logical, that this person is healed. And maybe it's even counter logic. And then what did the person say? Even it was not Jesus, but the person was saying, well, I don't know if he's a sinner or not, because they were all saying he's a sinner. Who healed you is a sinner and all that. And he said, I don't know if he's a sinner or not, but I have the evidence here, right here. I was blind, and the parents, they then called the parents. What happened? Your son is being connected with this guy that is a false prophet. And then the parents came to confirm. How many testimonies have you seen with the parents coming to confirm and with the community coming to confirm? So in this case, the parents and the community came out and said, we don't know anything. He's our son, yes. We confirmed that he's our son. But we also confirmed that he was born blind, yes. And we also confirmed that all these years he has been alive, he's been blind. And, this guy, we don't even know his name. So Jesus didn't have any benefit from it. Jesus was not gaining anything. He was not calling for offering afterwards. He was not calling for faith offering or prophetic offering. He was not calling for seed offering. He was not, calling for $1,000, per healing. He was not claiming anything. He just came as a servant. It was very clear. It was so what ensued after that was that it was logical that Jesus wanted to help this guy. We could see that logically. We could see that logically that Jesus didn't demand anything from the person. Jesus actually said, no, go and actually show yourself to the priest. Go and show yourself to the authority. Let them affirm you. Jesus did everything so logically and explainable. And so it's not, Jesus did not act in an erratic way, the way most people who are miracle workers today are acting. So if we want to say we are working miracle in the power of Jesus and the power of God, and that so we cannot explain it since it's God's power and it's God that is working. But let's see the way God worked. The way God works is that it makes everything so clear, and his motives were logical. Is the action, the miracle itself might not be logical, but it's not counter logic. It's not counter logic, and people could explain it. They could see the situation, and they could affirm it. They could confirm it. They could they could verify everything. The same thing was with the woman that touched Jesus and got healed. The woman with the issue of blood. She came and got the miracle, and the same thing. Jesus didn't have any interest in that, and Jesus was not charging the woman. He was not connecting it with money, and Jesus was not, he didn't have anything to gain. It was rather just, being a blessing to this person. And so you examine any miracle of Jesus, you will see that they are explainable. They are logical in that sense. So this is very serious because, we think that since it is God doing it, it has to be illogical, and it has to be even counter logic. But it doesn't follow, because God said, especially with Paul, he said, add to your faith virtue. You need to add virtue and knowledge. He also said, add to your faith knowledge, then add to your knowledge virtue. So you need to add knowledge to your faith, not just have a blind faith, but bring out the knowledge and the verification of whatever is happening. We must have a knowledge base or a knowledge base and explanation of whatsoever is happening.